There's 3 questions up here, which gives me about a minute each. Oops, 5 questions. That gives me a minute each. In your opinion, what do you think caused Mark to turn to the dark side? I have no idea. I don't know him. I don't know anything about him. All I know is the documents. How does anyone tell a Hoffman forgery? I don't know. Myself and Bill Flynn did research for 6 months before we finally figured out how he did his forgeries, because they were so unique and used techniques that we had never seen before. As I get documents now asking if they're his, for instance, one of the things I'm sure a lot of you have heard is about the cracked ink. Well, realize it's not always cracking, and it only shows at a particular degree of magnification. So if you see cracked ink, that doesn't mean it's forged. All that means is it's cracked. So it's difficult to tell, and that's one of the reasons why he was successful. It takes so long to do an examination. On the Salamander Letter, for instance, I spent 120 hours on that one page. Who can afford to pay my fee to get a document examined if I'm going to spend 120 hours on it? Of course, I don't spend that long on all of them. Do you know who the anonymous Park Service employee who discovered the scroll was? Yes, I do. In your opinion, which book most accurately reflects the events surrounding the case? Obviously, the one I wrote and that's sitting in the back. Any possibility Mark forged the Mormon will? Is that the Howard Hughes will? Nah, this was before his time. It was found in 1976, so I don't think so. I've been told by someone at Church Archives that Mark Hoffman had been poking around Norwich, New York, prior to Wes Walter's discovery of the Neely Dzang bills for the 1826 trial. How far-fetched would a Hoffman connection to these documents be? I went back to New York in April to look at that document. I don't know when the church is going to release. They're hiding it again, okay? I don't know when they're going to release the results of it. I don't know whether the people in Norwich have released it, the historian back there. So I don't feel free to discuss that at this particular time. When they hire me, I do it confidential. Yes, secret, as Steve said. I do it secretly. But anyway, the question does not ask whether the document is genuine or not. The question says, did Mark Hoffman, was he back there? Well, he was back there, but not at the time this document was found. So Steve has some things he wants to elaborate on. And all I can say is thank you very much for allowing me to be here. If anybody has any special questions, I'd be happy to answer them if I can. Thank you very much.
Quickly, he skipped this. Do we know the name of the anonymous Park Service employee? Well, he's not anonymous. His name is Al Malmquist. He's been down there for 40-some years. Best way I can describe Alan is the fact he's the man with the keys. He's the one that when George and I went down there to tour the Lee's fort, he was the one that got us in. He's been a very helpful person, and as we've examined the scroll, been a great supporter. This past spring, I went with a tour down with Weaver State University to Lee's Ferry, and he was more than glad on his day off to come and give a tour. Very congenial, very friendly, very open, and both George and I are very impressed with him. Are we fairly certain that the John D. Lee scroll was a Hoffman forgery? Everybody kind of assumes that. Best answer I can give you is I have a $100 answer and a 10-cent answer. $100 answer is that there's no hardcore proof or evidence that Mark had anything to do with it, but there is circumstantial evidence that may connect him to it or may show it might be part of him that I am not willing to excuse him as to use a legal term, suspect in manufacturing or producing the deadly scroll. That's my $100 answer. 10-cent answer, I don't know. So, anyway.